that's the big kind of pitch is like, hey, well, if ChatGPT can make your elaborate spreadsheet for this thing that you need for work in 30 minutes
then
instead of you doing it in 3 days, go hike. Well, we're just going to do more work. Like, if ChatGPT can make a video for me using a photorealistic version of myself based on the real footage I give it. Like I want all my videos to look exactly like this. And I want to work with you to come up with the script. And then I want you to spit out like me talking to camera synthetically. And then I can tell you, I'll put some B-roll from WWDC 2022 over this part of the video, and like I can build it just by telling you what to do. Yeah. If I can get that video done in 3 hours instead of 2 days, I'm not sitting there going, great, now I can go spend time with my kids. I'm going, now I need to start making the next video because I can crank them out that much faster, because this whole ecosystem of social media and content creation,
I don't think we're going to find a lot
me into
more time though to
doing more.
Consume content. Like, and I think that, I mean, yeah, you can definitely fall for that or fall into that, but you can always play that game. You know, that's what they call like chasing the bottom of or, you know, fighting to get to the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, race to zero.
Race to zero. Scraping the bottom of the barrel. You can always play that game. We know companies that play that game. We know people that play that game. And a lot of time that's a result of not offering anything of real value. Yep. Which is a result of not putting time and energy and brain share and effort into something. So, I mean, yeah, if all you're doing is making WWDC recaps. Right. And you're just trying to spit your shitty recap out before everybody else's shitty recap goes out, then yeah, you can play. People are going to play that game and you can play that game. But everybody does have a certain level of administrative tasks that they have to complete on a day-to-day basis or on a week-to-week basis, you know, ad infinitum. And if you choose to outsource those things and focus on creating more value, then I don't necessarily think that time vacuum happens or that, you know, I'll just do more and more. I think it's really up to the user. Right. Whoever's using or taking advantage of this product. And it's also up to the, you know, if you're working for a company and they're just like, oh, well, we're expecting more and more and more of you. Part of that is, well, they're trying to maximize the value you give. So if you give value in some other realm that can't be scaled like that, then that magically will go away. But I mean, yeah, if that's the game you're playing, then that's always going to be the cycle that you're caught up in, is race to zero, do more. And you know, we talked about opting out, but that's just something that you have to acknowledge and opt out of. I think that's a choice more than a you know, metaphysical phenomenon.
And we're seeing that with, you know, at least in our circles, we're seeing sort of an opting out of even using modern tools that do make things easier. Yeah. We're seeing, I mean, we're recording this right now with flip cameras, which you have to, it's cool that it has a little USB flip out thing, but it's USB-A. So you have to have a dock that fits an older technology because we're all USB-C now. You have to plug it into your computer, and it takes a long time to transfer whatever it ends up being, 2 gigabytes.
8 minutes for like a gig of footage.
Whereas, you know, all this modern stuff, you know, it's just in the cloud. You know, we're not even there yet, right? Where these cameras, if they were modern cameras, should really just be beaming the video to the cloud, and by the time we're done recording, you sit down at your computer, the footage is there.
We'd be live streaming auto cutting,
yeah,
or whatever. Yeah, I mean,
and there are some of those tools that we're using in this
yeah.
podcast where we are using AI to sort of auto cut the multicam, and it's a sort of a bad problem to feed it, right? So that we can actually make this podcast
because this wouldn't happen. Like, we don't enjoy that,
right?
And that's a great example. That's a wonderful example of what I'm talking about. This wouldn't be possible without using AI to cut it, or coming up with the AI descriptions and timestamps. And is it always perfect? No, I don't care.
Yeah,
because all I care about is every week we sit down and have a conversation that's at least meaningful to us,
right?
And then we put it up there, and it seems like there's people every week that get some value out of it. And as long as there's, one or two people that seem to get some value out of it, it's really fulfilling. And then it's, even if there was nobody, it's fulfilling to us. But yeah, I don't want to go in and cut and spend, I still spend like an hour an episode, even with the AI.
Yep.
Because you have to organize the footage and bring it all in, and then you have to do a quality control, and you have to do the audio, and then you have to export it, and we have to upload it to the cloud for us to pull, and it has to be uploaded to the podcast platform and then to YouTube. And then you spend an hour finding the clips and cutting it. So,
and I think this is the argument that Sam Altman would make, and I'm not saying that I want to give up that workflow in order to save time.
Yeah.
But his argument would be, well, let's have AI do all of that.
Yeah. Well, and my argument would be, then I don't care about it.
Then
because
I don't
right
have any
now,
skin in the game.
when I look at it, every week we sit down and have a conversation, and then we have to fuck with it a little bit.
Right.
This is my labor.
Right.
When I look and I see that we have 200 videos on the channel, or, we hit a new listening mark because we've uploaded, we're about to hit 50 episodes over 2 years.
You have credit for that.
Yeah. I don't
versus
I'm not doing this because of the pure, like the reason that we're doing this would disappear if it was just we had a conversation, AI handled it all and posted it.
And that's the crux of this conversation to me, and in this video.
And that's the whole reason I'm skeptical.
And this is the cost of the cost of
it's
AI.
What are we optimizing for anyway?
Is the cost,
who cares?
Is the cost of AI making our podcast, other than the conversation that we have right now?
Yeah.
Is the cost of that just who cares? Like you don't care about it the same way than if you have all those input points to pilot the thing.
And now a good counter argument to that would be, well, if you guys got to a certain level, would you hire somebody to do it, and then they would do it, and you wouldn't have to deal with it anyways, and you guys would just come and sit down and record? And there's plenty of people that do that. And
you would give feedback to a real human, like, hey, could we cut to the wide a little bit more? Like, there's a couple things Matt says and it doesn't cut to him.
And there's an argument to be made there, but that is not the reason that we're doing this thing right now. It may be for some people that is. So that's where I say it just depends on your situation if you're going to get value out of it or not. Because there's certainly some people that do just want to sit down and have a conversation, and then they have an entire production crew, quote unquote, that goes out and cuts this thing together.
But there's something about...
And you just have to know yourself.
There's something about having a real person involved in that, in the spirit of collaboration. They're bringing their whole life to bear, all their experiences.
But then again, to be honest, who's a real, we have skin in the game. When I'm editing the podcast, it is because the incentives are aligned properly.
Yeah.
And in a purely economic sense, the incentives are aligned with me sitting down and doing that work. Mm-hmm. That's a shit job.
Right.
Like if I was hired, even if it was a huge podcast, if I didn't have my incentive aligned, I'm not going to enjoy that job of sitting down to edit a podcast. So yeah, there is a good argument to be made. Like, well, it's with a human. It's like, why isn't it a robot that you're out, or a computer that you're outsourcing that to?
Yeah. But my argument is, it's a person who's going to bring their experience and perspective and expertise to bear. And what little things might they say or give feedback on that would actually shape the voice and vision of what we're doing. And they might say just a couple little things that you take with you, and over time you are, kind of chewing on it, and it informs how you engage with each other, or, whatever it is, that it plays a role in the soul of the thing. Yeah. Whereas can a magic intelligence in the cloud contribute to the soul of what you're making, or does it remove the soul?
It had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer and summer.